My name is Avicra Luckey. I'm 20 years old, and I'm a student at KUNM right now. And the way I got involved with YWU was I was 13, and now my relation is that I work here, and I'm the community organizer, and I coordinate the Circle of Strength program, which is our program for girls 13 to 19 years old. And we just build leadership skills and work on campaign organizing skills, and that's the main focus of this circle.
An organization like Young Women United important in our community?
Okay, so it's important because it's a women of color organization. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure we're like the only women of color organization in Albuquerque, I think. And so there might be other women's organizations or other people of color organizations, and even like specifically African American people of color organizations, or Asian American or Latino American or whatever. But here it's specifically women of color who self-identify, and so that's important to have this space here because a lot of our stories are similar. Like a lot of our communities are going through the same things and dealing with the same issues, and it's a place to come and talk about what you're going through and feel safe, and then realizing that other people are going through the same thing, or even just to come to better yourself or make yourself more educated, like I said earlier, like about what's going on in the world or what people who look like you are doing to change it, you know what I mean? And so that's why it's important to have this space here, just to be able to relate to people who, like I said, look like you, come from the same places you did, experience the same things you did when you were smaller. You're able to talk about the things you went through, and it's just like a family, really. So that's why it's important to have a space like this.
United's accomplishments.
Okay, so for a long time, since I joined Young Women United, the Circle of Strength was actually trying to find a campaign to focus on, like an issue to focus on, some change that we wanted to make. And so through doing youth surveys, passing them out at the schools and stuff, we identified like 3 key issues that were affecting us as young women of color, and that was sexual harassment, dropout rates, and dating violence, stuff like that. And so we kind of came to the conclusion that all of this stuff, specifically the dropout rates too, culminated, I guess, came together through teen pregnancy. And how do you get pregnant when you're 16? It's because you don't know how to take care of your sexual health or what sexual health even is. So what we decided was we were going to focus on sexuality education. New Mexico was I think the 25th state or something like that to refuse abstinence-only federal funds from the government. And so what we did was we wrote a memorial in conjunction with New Mexico Civic Engagement, and went to the state legislature in 2006 to present our memorial. And that's one of the main things that I remember sticking out during this campaign, because it was like real organizing, like getting up in people's faces basically, like decision makers, and telling them this is what we found, this is what we want, and it's not right to be teaching scientifically incorrect information. Look how it's affecting us, you know what I mean? And so that's what was the funnest part about doing this whole campaign.
Women United currently working on, and how can young women of color actually get involved?
So what Young Women United is working on right now is still the same campaign, even though the federal abstinence-only money was refused. They're trying to get it to where New Mexico can again accept that money, so we're trying to combat that. Also, the Department of Health went over the standards and benchmarks for what students need to learn when they're being taught sexuality health education, and those standards and benchmarks are very comprehensive. And so what we want to do is make sure that schools know what those standards and benchmarks are and that they're teaching to those standards and benchmarks. And what we actually did a year ago actually now was we compiled more surveys to see how the schools were doing in teaching, and we came up with a report card off of those responses to our surveys, and we sent that out to the news media. We did a release and everything, and now what we're doing is, because that got us a lot of attention, especially from schools and teachers and everything, what we're doing now is trying to communicate with those schools, and a lot of them claim that they are teaching to the standards and benchmarks, but they are not willing to share the information that they're teaching or their curriculum. So that's what we're working on now, just implementation and making sure that the changes that are already systematic are being actually taught.
Avicra, thank you so much for letting us come interview you at your office and tell us some information about YWOO.
Thank you guys for coming. It was cool talking to you all. I'm glad I got to talk about YWOO, and hopefully we'll get some people to come to a few meetings out of this. So thank you guys for coming. It was really fun.
Thank you.